Hello, friends. Welcome to the second episode of my completion series. Today I'm going to be talking about the Turner Diaries. I read the Turner Diaries a while back, and when I explained to people what I was reading was about, I got quite a few looks because they find it unnatural, I guess, to read something that you don't agree with or that challenges your ideals. The book itself was not all that controversial in what I consider it's just a dystopian future with a revolutionary objective that has the objective of being a white ethno state or a white cultural state. I really don't find that hugely objectionable because I find white culture to be the preferable culture. The degeneracy of black culture I find extremely problematic. I find the idea of race mixing to an extent that I can't stop it and I wouldn't stop it, but it's problematic. Again, I would use that word. I hate using problematic, but I really don't know how to use it other way. Disgusting, I guess, would be another way to put it. I find it disgusting. But as I'm a product of race mixing, considering I am only half white, I guess my existence kind of is predicated on the notion that people can do it. I really enjoyed the read because it was relevant to today's world. You see how very much so the leftists in our country would like a society that is depicted in the Turner Diaries where they control the media and the thought that anything a minority group does, or so-called minority group does, is okay because of how they were treated in the past. That's a huge problem. That's not how society should be developed, and completely disagree with. And that's why I read this book. I felt it was very necessary to read, where the controversy comes from this book because of what happened with the Oklahoma City bomber and the fact that he had read this and wanted to start such a revolution, such a violent revolution. I don't want to see a violent revolution. I would like us to read this and show us that if it comes to that, if it gets so far, it will come to that. And so we need to wake up, swallow some red pills, and not have these moral police checking everything we say. And then when they don't like what we say, they other us and they put us on the outside. That needs to stop, and we need to combat that with everything we have, which is to be more overtly voiceless in our opinions, and even trolly. Trolly is very big, and you need to push them to where they are the irrational ones, where they're being irrational, because that is the whole leftist point of view ever. It's completely irrational to think that everyone can have the same brain wavelength and be on the same page. It's not going to happen. Our culture and our society is way too large to have everybody think the same. We are seeing this in Europe right now, where the leftists are pushing for their ideology to be indoctrinated into the minds of young people who are pushing back finally. Europe right now is a mess because they have all these laws requiring you to think a certain way. You can't think on your own anymore there. It is a very dangerous thing to do out there if you're outspoken about ideas that they don't agree with, that the political elite don't agree with. You will be arrested. They will take you away. It is very much happening over there. That's why Germany's hate speech laws and Canada's hate speech laws are so horrible. These things are death traps for the future. They will start killing people for not sharing their ideas. It will happen. These things occur because the louder those voices are that they disagree with, the more they're going to want to silence them. And the only sure way to silence voices is to end those voices. And that's where it leads to. And that's why I hate hate speech laws. And that's why they need to go. Now, a little bit on the book. When it comes to, if you're reading this book and you're already alt-right or far-right, you're going to find nothing but confirmation bias, and it could lead you down a darker path of thinking armed resistance is palpable, is the way to go, but it's not. I think this should be as a warning more so than a guide on how to conduct a revolutionary struggle, because we need to keep it from getting to that point. We must battle and combat the restrictions against our speech that is being perpetuated by the leftist intellectual professors at universities, and not get violent. We have to show that they're violent, because that's what they are. You see that with Antifa. You see that with leftists all over the place, that they have no idea what the hammer and sickle means. It's constantly being brought up, and they just ignore the fact that they're the largest murdering ideology that was ever known to man, but yet they ignore it. So in the end, I find this book to be very helpful, very much in the realm of someone who would like to read a political book that goes against normal doctrine, normal ideas of what a revolution would look like. You should read it. I think more people should read it. I don't think it should have the stigma of being like a banned book. It should definitely be read more by people, and it should be brought up in education, because I think it's very educational in its value. So
leftist tears are fogging problem glasses. Trump elected, pause rejected. Lined up train cars for mass deportations, expatriation, restoration. And despite